In this video, we are recapping the major severe weather outbreak earlier this week. Also, we are looking into the future as it looks like several more rounds of severe weather are possible as we go into next week. The Storm Prediction Center has highlighted potential areas of concern for the next 6 days, so we're going to try to break down all the info so you can be prepared. Welcome back, y'all. Ryan Hall here with the weather forecast. A powerful storm system swept across the United States this week, bringing widespread damaging winds, dozens of tornadoes, and 2 fatalities in the south in a multi-day severe weather outbreak. It started on Tuesday, March 29th, where 5 confirmed tornadoes moved through the central U.S., including an EF3 tornado in Springdale, Arkansas, which destroyed multiple buildings and injured 7. Storms continued to wreak havoc on Wednesday, March 30th in the deep south, as multiple tornadoes and a wall of straight-line damaging winds tore through Mississippi, Alabama, and Louisiana. We covered this live for nearly 12 hours straight during the height of the events, and at least 30 tornadoes have been confirmed by the National Weather Service so far. By Thursday morning, tens of thousands were left without power while assessing the damage to homes and businesses. Recovery efforts are still underway across the South. But here on this channel, it's time we look into the future because it does look like another threat of severe weather is on the way for a lot of the same people that were impacted by these past events. So without further ado, let's start talking about the weather. All right, so we do have a slight risk of severe weather today in Florida. Check it out. The SPC has put out a yellow or 2 out of 5 on the severe weather risk scale. The main threats here are going to be hail and damaging wind. There is a small tornado threat, but I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal at all. And then tomorrow, the SPC has put out a slight risk of severe weather once again for portions of Oklahoma and Texas, from Vernon and Wichita Falls all the way up to Altus and Elk City and Clinton in Oklahoma. And once again, hail, damaging winds, that's going to be the main story here. The tornado threat is small. Okay, so looking at the HRRR simulated radar, or what the radar could look like as we go into the future, we're going to start off at 1 p.m. Eastern today. And as you can see, we got some big time storms down here in the Gulf of Mexico, just south of the Gulf Coast. These are going to move east and spark that slight risk of severe weather today in central Florida. Also, we've got some snow showers back here in Wisconsin and a big cold front coming through that's going to chill everybody down in the Midwest, the upper Midwest, over into the Great Lakes region. And then, of course, some snow showers over here in Idaho and Montana. Let's move this forward a little bit today. Between, 4 to 9 p.m., that's when we expect most of the severe weather to be happening down here in Florida. It's going to come in waves. It's not just going to be one storm and you're done. You're going to get one, then you're going to get another, and then you're going to get another, and then you're going to get another. And most of them will be pretty tame, but every once in a while you're going to get those big damaging wind gusts and occasionally a big hailstone or two. And of course, we cannot rule out the isolated waterspout or tornado. At 8 p.m. Eastern, we are looking at that snow moving into Michigan at this point, but a lot of this really dies out before it goes off to the east into the southern Ontario area, all the way into Quebec. Don't get me wrong, it's going to snow over there, but it's not that much. But check this out, as we go a little bit further into the future, you can see we got a new system forming over here, and you can see down here in Texas, we got a little bit of storms popping up. That's going to supply our slight risk of severe weather for tomorrow as it moves off to the north and to the east. And we got another system coming into the Pacific Northwest, bringing heavy rain to Seattle and Salem. You can see that we have our storms popping up down here, and it's important that I mention that this is what the radar could look like. It's not exact. As of right now, it doesn't show a lot of convection up there in the slight risk area, and it actually shows more storms popping up a little bit further to the south in south central and southwestern Texas. And I do believe this could be the case, but you still got to watch out for those isolated cells to pop up there around Altus, Oklahoma, because that is where some of the ingredients are most favorable for those big storms. All right, now on Monday, we have a much bigger slight risk of severe weather down here in Texas through Louisiana and Mississippi. And let's take a look at the atmosphere from the top down so we can diagnose what's happening here. First of all, you can see these little short waves causing our problems up north with those little punches of cold air, snow, and rain. If you look over here, there's also a very weak little pivot that is allowing for a little bit of lift out in front of it, and that's actually what's causing our potential severe weather tomorrow in Texas, and it's also what's going to continue to fuel that potential widespread severe weather system from Monday into Tuesday. Looky here. Here we are at 8 p.m. Monday. You got that little wave right there, but out in front of it, there is going to be enough lift and enough moisture for severe weather to occur. So we have to watch this very closely, as these little waves, a lot of times they're sneaky. This is certainly not going to get as much attention as some of these last storms because it's not this big, giant, massive storm system. But I'm telling you guys, you can still get some damage, and some of the most prolific, damaging storms come from little mesoscale convective systems like this, okay? So keep your eye on the weather down here, even if you're just in a slight or enhanced risk. I know we're used to being under moderates and, those big time risks, but this is severe weather season. Every storm has to be taken seriously. Check out what the Euro shows on the simulated infrared satellite. Look at that. That's exactly what I'm talking about with a little MCS, or a mesoscale convective system. This could likely produce a big bowing segment with a lot of straight line damaging winds, and of course the isolated possibility of a tornado or two as well. And then if we look at the lightning flash density forecast, you can see all that lightning moving from Texas into Louisiana around 2 a.m. and then this is going to continue to move east. By 6 a.m. on Tuesday, we expect widespread lightning, heavy rain, thunderstorms across Mississippi and Louisiana, and it's not going to stop there. In fact, we are going to carry the severe weather risk even further east on Tuesday into Wednesday. All right, here is that day 4 risk of severe weather from the Storm Prediction Center. That includes Mississippi, Louisiana, Florida, Alabama, and Georgia, and this is associated with the continuation of that storm system we've been watching. Check it out as we get into noon on Tuesday. We do expect strong storms in that slight risk area. And once again, I believe that this is going to be a big squall line as of right now. So I think the main threats are going to be those damaging winds. Look at this, by 11 p.m., things really start to die off, and we have a little bit more scattered in nature severe weather as we go into Wednesday morning. Once again, the timing and placement of all this is going to change drastically as we go forward. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, as I do plan on doing daily video updates until this threat is over. As of right now, this looks like a much more tame severe weather system than any of the ones we've looked at in the near past. However, I'm very cautious in saying that because I know that there will be homes damaged, there will be people affected by this storm, and if it's you, I don't want you to just overlook it. Don't be scared, be prepared, and keep updated with the weather. And of course, stay tuned to my social media channels, because that's all I talk about is the weather. All right, that brings us to the Wednesday and Thursday severe weather outlooks from the Storm Prediction Center. It's not moving backwards. That is a new severe weather system that may cause trouble as we go into Wednesday and Thursday. So check it out. We got our little shortwave over here causing our problems. That's going to skedaddle, and then bada bing, bada boom, we got a big old trough coming in on Wednesday into Thursday that could spark even more severe weather. And this is actually a very big storm. It's going to impact a lot of people. I don't know everything about the severity of it just yet, but I do know that there's going to be a lot of cold air come down behind this. Also, as this trough comes in through the West Coast, it's going to cause a lot of problems with wind and rain and snow. So once again, this will be a widespread weather maker, but we also have the chance for, once again, more severe weather on the southeastern side of that trough. Around 8 a.m. on Monday, we're going to see some heavy rain and snow make its way into the Pacific Northwest. We're talking about snow in the Cascades, and we're talking about rain in Seattle and Portland. And once again, it could be heavy at times with some really strong winds as that Pacific jet really starts blowing over. Okay, we're going to see snow possibly all across Idaho and Wyoming, especially once again in the higher elevations of Idaho. And then you can see that low pressure system form along that trough and really start to dig down around 11 a.m. on Wednesday, April 6th. And depending on how strong this storm system gets, that's going to really determine how much of a severe weather threat we have over here in the warm sector. So as we go into the day on Wednesday, or by 5 p.m., you can see that we've got warm air advecting, we've got cold air punching in, and we have the ingredients for storms right along this area. However, if we take a look at the dew points, we really don't have a lot of moisture advecting very far north, okay? Now, there's a thin line of 50 and 60 degree dew points that goes all the way up into Ohio, but really the most juicy air is settled down here in the deep south, kind of like where it's always been. So if we're going to have thunderstorms, as of now, it seems like most of them will occur a little bit further south. Now, this could change. If we see more moisture advection to the north, we could see a severe weather system that affects people all the way up into the Ohio Valley. Now, if we look at the lightning flash density once again on Wednesday, April 6th at 11 a.m., we got some leftover storms down here in Florida. It's going to be rainy down there for a while, guys. And then we've got a new area of convection popping up back here in the deep south that's associated with our big trough and our big storm system that's going to try to spark another round of severe weather. By 5 p.m., we could see storms from Tennessee all the way down into Alabama and Mississippi, and that is going to go to the south and to the east, maybe into Georgia by 10 or 11 p.m. p.m. and then die out pretty fast. Now, we do expect that this could potentially respark in intensity over here in the mid-Atlantic and on the East Coast, but as of right now, we don't know a lot about that, but there is a slight risk of severe weather over there because that is the most probable area for this to reform, okay? So that's kind of what the next little bit looks like. I don't know if any of these will require live streams, but if they do, I will be live covering these storms, I promise. But I try my best to get as much information out as possible just in these weather briefings. In fact, in tomorrow's video, I plan on not only going over the severe weather risks again and going over any updates, but also doing a little bit of a more long-term look at April. So if you've been missing my long-term weather outlooks, they're coming back. I am going to be doing one of those tomorrow. Make sure you tune in for that. And yeah, that's it. Thanks so much to all of our members over here. We have over 2,000 now. That's insane. Also, we are in the final stretch of launching our merch store, shopryanhall.com. This is probably one of your last chances to sign up, and make sure you get an email when that stuff launches because it's not going to last long, guys. The t-shirts are made in Kentucky. We're shipping them out of Kentucky. We only have a couple thousand, and there are already thousands of people waiting. So please sign up now. That also gives us a good idea of what we need to do when it comes time to restock, okay? All right, I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.